What's up, guys? Welcome to Juice Podcast. My name is Salman Ali at Salman Ali NBA on Twitter. Here joined by Forrest Walker at Do Nots on Twitter and Blue Sky. How you doing, man?
Hey, pretty good. It's been a pretty nice week for those of us who follow the Rockets.
Yeah, and a very, I don't want to say confusing. I'm just kind of, I'm all over the place. Okay, so Forrest, you know me very well. We've been podcasting for a very long time. You know I hate not having a rundown, right? I like having a plan. I like telling people what the plan's going to be. But as I was writing the rundown for this show, I was just like, I don't know what direction I'm going to go in. You know, like I have so many scattered thoughts here. I guess I'll just start by saying this. If you gave me a list of possible off seasons for the Rockets and you slip this one in the list, right? And you asked me to rank them in terms of most plausible to least plausible, I would rank this probably least plausible among the list you give me. I just would not have seen this coming, personally. Like, I know, like, it's not that I didn't think that them making a major trade was possible. It's that them making a major trade and then going all in with their chips like this and kind of like, I don't want to say that they're not foregoing their future because they're still keeping a lot of it intact. But it's the win now combined with the forwarding of the timeline, combined with still keeping your assets and signing good deals all along the way. It's an A+, right? Like, it's an A+ off season. We don't know how some of this has been completed yet, right? So let's go ahead and talk. Just go over the deals real quick, right? And then we can just kind of
broad strokes.
Right. So Jabari Smith, 5-year, 125 extension. Okay. That's straightforward. We know how that happened. Yeah. That happened, right? Aaron Holiday, Jeff Green, Jayshawn Tate, all back on the team. There's some dispute on what the number that Aaron Holiday came back to the team on. I think some people believe it's just a flat minimum, and some people believe it's $3 million. And there is a difference, right? If it is $3 million, like, yes, technically it's in what he's getting paid. There's no difference, right? If he's getting paid 2.7 out of the Rockets cap versus 2.7 a minimum, right? There's no difference, but like what it counts against the cap is different. It only counts $1.5 million against the cap if he's getting paid a minimum. If he's getting paid $3 million or whatever, 2.5 or 2.7 or whatever out of the cap or out of something else, out of some mid-level exception, whatever, right? Like that counts straight up out of the number. So there's a big difference. We don't know. There's some dispute there yet. Right now, we don't know yet. But we know that they're coming back on some low number. We know that they signed Dorian Finney-Smith to a 4-year, $52 or $53 million contract. We still don't know how that like we think it's mid-level exception.
Probably MLE, but yeah.
Right. But again, this could get wrapped into the Kevin Durant deal. This could get wrapped into the Jock Landau deal. Like, we don't know.
Well,
it's so frustrating for people like you and I who are trying to analyze what they did. But, like, we know enough to know that they didn't, like, do anything to sacrifice. Like, they didn't give up the farm to pull this stuff off. Okay, and also, one more deal they had was Clint Capela on a 3-year, $22 million deal.
Welcome home.
Okay. In terms of value in what they did, home run off season, they are a for sure title contender. I'd say they are the second best team in the Western Conference on paper. Right?
Yeah, and not just like a team that could get the second seed in the West, but like legitimately this looks like the second best team in the West. The only other team right now, I think, that other than the champion Thunder, who obviously are the first best team in the West, the only team I'd include in that
obvious. I guess I want to stop you there on obvious because I was going to talk about this next. It really depends on like how much stock you put into the Thunder being a 68-win team from now on. Sure. Right, like that type. Like, but, do you think they're that same kind of Warriors level threat or not?
I mean, they're extremely talented, and it's really hard. Like just looking at the lineups. I'm just saying, like, the only teams that they're the only team I would put ahead of Houston, and the only other team I put in the tier in that like top should make the conference finals tier at this point is probably the Nuggets. Also, Nuggets made some really good improvements. I think you have to be fair on Nuggets and put them in that grouping as well. But like the Nuggets and the Thunder,
people are crapping on the Lakers right now. I wouldn't count them out either. Just in terms of just being a threat. Like when you have, I know LeBron's 40, but when you have LeBron, you have Luka. They do have a center now, right? It's not pretty how they got here, but they do have a set. They signed DeAndre Ayton to a 2-year deal, and I just don't want to dismiss them out of hand. I think that's a real upset threat. Like they can upset anybody in the Western Conference. I still think that's just me. Maybe I'm wrong, and they win 41 games. I think that's unlikely.
They could really use Dorian Finney-Smith.
Sure, yeah, and that was the double-edged thing with the Rockets, right? Not only are they getting Dorian Finney-Smith, which they don't really need Dorian Finney-Smith. We'll talk about that in a second. Like they are taking him away from the Lakers, who need Dorian
Finney-Smith.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's fair. I think also the Timberwolves deserve to be put in that conversation.
Yeah,
I think they've earned that. We've gone over before. The West is stacked. The West is really stacked, and it's only gotten more stacked. But the only teams I think that Houston is would be the underdog against conceivably,
this is the Thunder. Yeah,
this is the Thunder, and then maybe the Nuggets, depending on how the season goes.
Yeah, and by the way, I mentioned the are we sure that they're 100%? The favorite with the bullet. Like I mentioned that at the beginning, not to display my skepticism in the Thunder, but it's just their first year, right? It's not like when the Rockets traded for Chris Paul and they had one team to beat and that was it, right? It's not like that. It doesn't feel the same, right?
The West is loaded in general. Yeah,
and that's a much younger team, right? That's a much younger team than what the Rockets were facing with that Warriors team, and that Warriors team also had 2 all-time greats, right? Which is listen, I love Shea, I love Jalen Williams, I love Chet Holmgren. That's a very good roster, but you have at the moment, it's hard to say they have more than one right now, right? More than one all-time pantheon level talent, right? That's the difference in it's not that same level of hurdle, I would say. That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying. They did seem to have less of a chokehold on the league in the playoffs than they did in the regular season. Mm-hmm. In the regular season, they were just putting everyone in the machine over
historical
and over
level of our regular season team. Yeah,
but then when they came into the playoffs, they obviously they won every series they were in and won the championship. Oh, yeah. But they got pushed to more than you would think for a team that was plus 14 during the season. So right. Yeah, I think you have to give them the benefit of the doubt until you see some evidence to the contrary. I think they've earned being viewed as the most likely to repeat, but I think you're not wrong.
I just don't view them as Warriors 2018 level threat is what I'm trying to say. That's just me. I don't view them as Warriors 2018 level threat, but I do view them as they're the favorite in the Western Conference in the same way that the Heat were the favorite in the Eastern Conference in 2013, right? That's a very excellent team, if you formed a good enough team in the Eastern Conference, you could have beat them. I think in that season, right? They weren't prohibitive. They're gonna walk everyone. They're gonna walk over everyone, right? I just don't view it that way.
Well, speaking of walking over everyone, 60 or 65 wins for the Rockets this season.
Okay, so before we'll do the macro. We'll zoom out and do the macro in a second, but let's go through each of these moves. So Jabari, I mean, I thought this was a home run, much like their offseason, but this in particular was he could have bet on himself and gotten more than this if he had stellar he was a number 3 overall pick. It's not like this guy was a bust. He's good. He's a good player. He's a good starter, and I think he's probably a top half of the league power forward. That's probably what he is.
Yeah. Well, and this is good starter money too. That's what this is. To be clear, the salary people. This is always happens. The salary cap goes up a lot. It's gone up very quickly this last decade in particular. So it's hard for people to stay abreast of what the salary cap truly is at this point. That's an average of $24 million a year over the contract. We'll see how it's distributed. Probably 8% raises.
Less than 18% of the cap, annual, right? And
so that's solid starter money. That's where he's at. It's a great. It's a deal. It's probably. I think this is a much smaller deal than he would have gotten if he went to restricted free agency. I think someone else would have given him more than this.
I think so too, right? So, that's why it's incredible. That's why it's an incredible deal. And by the way, I totally understand why Jabari couldn't walk away from this. Right, it's $125 million. Like yes, the salary cap has gone up, but we have to think practically. We're all human. Once you see like what is it, 9 figures, right? Like I don't know how you don't sign any contract that has 9 figures on it, right?
Well, and this gets to a point that I want to make also, which is that he clearly wants to be in Houston, which it seems like everyone does. Is the thing like the between the lines thing I'm seeing with these signings, and let's also not forget that they re-signed Steven Adams as well, to a 13 per contract.
Yeah, and I just want to say this before we move on from Jabari. I believe in his upside. There's a lot of people crapping on him. I put a tweet out there. I'm like, if this guy made an All-Star team next year, like he could have really demanded more than this. And people were like, really, dude? Jabari's going to make an All-Star team? I'm like, yeah, I think that's a real upside. Like, is it likely? No, but like, I think it's there, like as a possibility. I haven't eliminated it.
He has. I've come around so much on Jabari Smith in this last season. Like this season really convinced me of a lot, and especially the playoffs. Mm-hmm. He was in the playoffs one of only like 2 guys. No one could hit consistent open threes in that series except for him. He canned them time after time after time. He was there for open threes in the corner, and that's something to really be treasured in a player who he stepped up in a critical situation.
Especially in Houston.
Yeah. Especially in Houston.
Yeah. Yeah.
So having a guy who's like, and especially pairing him up with Kevin Durant, who many people have said for good reason that he resembles Kevin Durant in a lot of ways, both in his game and in his stature and build. Like they're obviously not the same. Kevin Durant is a level of player that few will ever reach, and almost certainly not Jabari Smith Jr. Which is not a slight against Jabari Smith Jr., but it's the fact that like Kevin Durant's like a top 10 player of all time.
Yeah, but but there's a quality of like I can shoot over anybody from the mid range, right? Like I a lot of people made those comparisons. I thought it was silly. I always thought high end Paul George, but realistic All-Star like guy LaMarcus. Yeah, like LaMarcus is more what I think of when I think of like All-Star for Jabari, right? Like that's that. You tell me he can't be LaMarcus Aldridge. I tell you that why not? Why can't he?
Yeah.
Be? Right?
And I think having Kevin Durant around is only going to help him learn how to play his game even better. Who knows how much that matters, but like he's not going to learn less from Kevin Durant by Kevin Durant being here.
Right. Yeah, and like he's 6'10", great physicals, like great motor, good rebounder, good defender, right? Like, is he stellar at something yet? No, but like that doesn't. You can be like really good in a lot of areas and find a way to make an All-Star team, right? Like that's what LaMarcus was, right? Like and like I think we just have to like not be dismissive of this guy. There's a reason a lot of top evaluators had him as the best talent in that draft class. I wasn't like someone who believed him as a number 1 overall pick, but I was like, yeah, he's definitely that number 3. Definitely number 3.
I mean, one big advantage he has also is that his game fits in anywhere, similarly to Kevin Durant. So like, there's no lineup that doesn't want a Jabari Smith Jr.
Yeah,
like he plays good defense. He can dribble decently. He can pass okay. He can shoot well. He can create his own offense a bit. He fits in with any team structure. Like there's no lineup that you don't want him in.
Also, there's this. I'm glad you said that because there's a line out there on him like he can't dribble. I'm like, are you sure about that? Is it he can't dribble or he doesn't dribble?
Yeah.
Like you look at what Houston is like last year and this year. He's not asked to do that. Right?
No,
he's not asked
to create for himself. Yeah.
Right? Like I think we need to really think about that. You haven't seen, you the listener, you haven't seen what Jabari is capable of, right? I haven't seen what Jabari is capable of. So I'm not going to dismiss it. I haven't seen anything to suggest that he can't dribble. I've seen him, in fact, during his early career, take it end to end before. Right? Yeah. Like this idea that he can't dribble, you don't know that. Like, so stop saying that. Like, we just know he doesn't do that.
He's a do-it-all player. I mean, what's really happening, I think, is that he's going to basically be replacing Dillon Brooks because they're sort of filling the gaps guy, and then Durant's replacing Jalen Green in terms of just the give him the ball and he'll get you a bucket guy, and then there's a starting lineup is staying the same.
Yeah, I mean, bottom line, love his extension. Not love this number. think it has upside to be even better than it looks right now. And I know people don't like the 5 years. I'm like, yeah, listen, if he hits that high end upside, you're gonna love that 5 years.
That deal's gonna look so good at the end of this deal.
Yeah,
ridiculously good.
I think it looks great right now. Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
So we're both on the same page here. Next, I think we probably should talk about Dorian Finney-Smith. Okay, so this is again like I kind of expected them to kind of I don't want to say be done after getting Kevin Durant, but maybe get like some minimum guys, right, and round out the I know they there was a way they could have opened up the mid-level exception, right, but I was like, where is this mid-level exception guy gonna play, right? And I think the Rockets are just like, listen, financially, if you look at our books, we only have the mid-level exception this year. Next year we're not gonna have it again, so we should spend it this year, right? Like, I think they were very much in a use it or lose it kind of mentality. And I think this is where that decision could come into question when you look at what they might have to give up. Cam Whitmore, right? So Cam Whitmore hasn't formally been traded from the team. Right now, we don't know anything about Cam Whitmore's situation. It's very much in flux, right? Very could have been traded by the time you listen to this episode, could still be on the roster, right? But regardless, he is not going to have a significant role on next year's Rockets team, right? And part of the reason for that is because they made this signing, right? And we'll see if that's the right gamble, because it's very apparent to me that the Rockets believe in Dorian Finney-Smith, at least for next year, being a good enough contributor to fill in those gaps than Cam Whitmore, right? And long term, they don't want to wait, right? They this is part of they're putting their chips in, right? They don't want to wait on Cam. And they don't want they also it's also possible that Cam doesn't want to wait in the wings, right? Maybe he wants more than what he'd be asked here, right? Maybe he thinks he can. Yeah, go ahead.
That's what I'd like to add, is that I think that there's a very real so many people are interpreting this as they're willing to trade Cam Whitmore because he's kind of the only real expendable piece they have that's worth something, so they can make an upgrade, which is, I think, broadly true. Like, he's the only guy who they're not penciling in as like a key part of the team, who other teams actively want. However, I think we can't underestimate that part of this may be that Cam Whitmore would simply like a bigger role and like a bigger part to play. And they're probably doing him a favor by saying, we'll look for places where you can go and play more and like springboard your career.
And this sucks so much because I feel like he's going to go somewhere else and blow up. I just feel it in my gut. Like, I feel like I believe so much in the guy's talent. Like, I thought, if you guys read my prospect rankings last year for the Rockets, I had him number 3 on the roster. That means I had him ranked above Jalen Green, Tari Eason, Jabari Smith. Like, I believe in Cam Whitmore. I don't care what he did last season. In my opinion, last season, throw that in the trash. That was such a garbage sample. He was like, his role was so inconsistent on this team when he had a role on this team, right? The year before, that rookie season, I mean, he showed enough to me where I'm like, yeah, I believe in this guy much more than Jalen Green. Like, I think this guy is an efficient scorer. I think the athleticism's real. I think, listen, if Ime is this defensive guy, right? If he's the guy you coach up, who can coach up anybody to be a good defensive player, like, this guy has the physical tools to be a good defensive player. Like, and you're now one of the highest paid coaches in the NBA, Ime, right? Like, if this is what your bread and butter is, you should have been able to make this happen. Now, I get that the Rockets are going all in, right? And maybe they feel like this is just a safer bet, Dorian Finney-Smith, right? But I don't know. I can't help internally feel like he's going to blow up somewhere else, and the Rockets are going to kick themselves a little bit for not waiting a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a real.
It may have been unavoidable, as you're saying. He may have forced this out himself, right?
Yeah, it might just be in his benefit. I still have no read on whether they're going to end up trading him or not. Like, in some ways, I feel like if they were going to, it would have already happened. Because of the way things happen at. But
isn't it also like his days are numbered, right? Because like he has no role in the team next year.
Yeah, I mean, he'd have to show something pretty special to force his way into the lineup, which, like, theoretically could happen, and he could, supplant someone else in the rotation. But yeah, it's not a great situation for Cam specifically. Like, I think it's a good situation for Houston to have someone of his talents basically playing third string.
Right.
But it's not really fair to him. Is the problem there?
If that guy's unhappy, how good of a situation is, right? And this is where
we don't know if he's happy or not. I'm just putting out there that I can understand why he would want a better situation for himself.
I can see both sides of this. Is all I'm trying to say. I can see both sides of this, and I could see, again, you take the Dorian Finney-Smith signing in a vacuum, fantastic. But it's not happening in a vacuum, right? Like the Rockets are making choices, right? And this is a choice they're making, and we're having to evaluate this choice again. And right now, it feels like a safer bet, right? But personally, do I want to take a safer bet? I don't know, right? I don't know. I'm not them though. They want to win a title, right?
The case I'll make for Dorian Finney-Smith is this, which I think it's good. It's actually quite a good sign. I mean, I don't think we're disagreeing it's a good signing, but I'm going to say I think a little higher up than you are, which is that this is a guy who's 32 currently.
Yeah.
In the later stage of his career, he's getting paid an average of like $14 million a year, mid-level exception money, basically. Like probably this is using the mid-level exception for him.
Mm-hmm.
This is a guy who they will tell him what his role is going to be, and that's the end of it. Like he's not going to have like the clout, or I think honestly the desire to try to dictate his role in the team. They're going to say you come off the bench for how. Yeah,
he knows
you
who
play.
He is.
Yeah, you play however many minutes we tell you to play, and that's it. Like you are here to when we need a 3-and-D guy, you're going to go out and be a 3-and-D guy. If we don't need you to play a game, you're not going to play that game. So I think that's the strength of this is that if they do keep Cam and they find that he is like better overall than Dorian Finney-Smith, let's say, which. Who knows? Again, who knows? This is pure speculation. But if Cam Whitmore does force his way into the rotation, DFS is the guy they're going to say, well, you're going to take his seat then. Like,
oh, okay. That's an angle I didn't see you say. Okay, so you're saying, hey, that there may still be an opportunity for Cam if he like really shines. This is the case you're making. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I don't think Finney-Smith is going to be offended by that outcome. I think he knows he's here to be a hired gun. He's going to play the role he was hired to play. Mm-hmm. And that's simply how team dynamics goes.
There also has to be an openness to Cam, right? And like, I'm not sure. We'll see if that exists. Like, because before last season, it did exist, right? Like they did play him before that. Like they did play him as rookie. So it's tough to know what the hell happened last year. They got deeper a little bit, but like not much. And go ahead.
My feeling is Udoka and the coaching staff seem to have cooled off on him somewhat for one reason or another. Maybe it was defense, maybe it was like attitude or something. I don't know. I'm not in the locker room. But like the rotation wise, it did seem like coaching decided that he was not the solution, whereas they hadn't decided it previously. I don't know why, but that's that appears to be a thrust of it.
Yeah, and for those like taking victory laps on Cam Whitmore, like this is why he fell in the draft. Like, no. Okay. The GMs that passed on him are still stupid. We saw the talent. Okay. Like, I believe in the talent. I think he will blow up wherever team he goes to. That's just me. Forrest, you don't have to sign on to that. I think I'll just be on the record. Next team Cam Whitmore is on and has a significant role. I think the guy's going to blow up and be awesome. Right.
Well, I think if he gets more chances to dunk on people and hit threes in their eye, that'll be more fun for the people watching him. So that's cool.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, in a vacuum, I mean, again, we like this deal. We both like DFS. The Clint Capela one was confusing, right? So like, I think I know why they did this. I don't know if this was like needed, like per se. Like it seems like they want to have a third center on the roster because they want to have. First of all, they believe in two bigs with Şengün. They believe in that. Like that they. Now we know, like, this is something that they're going to keep going to. Second, Steven Adams insurance, right?
Yeah, I think that's the biggest one. Steven Adams, they know, is going to miss games. They know he's going to have to miss back-to-backs. They know he's going to be on minutes restrictions because of his age. So they just want a guy who can back up Steven Adams and play sometimes quite a few minutes.
Yeah, it's just strange because, like, Clint Capela is not a third center guy, right? Like, Clint Capela is like a
No.
like he was starting like at the beginning of last season.
He's like
right?
a good backup center, like at this point in his career, if not like a weaker
low end
starter.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if he feels overqualified for that role, but then again, this is also the same team that had like Nene overqualified for his third center role, right? Like what
is it they say? A legacy of bigs?
Yeah. I feel, you know what it is? Like a little part of me is like conspiracy, like ever since they had that playoffs where Yao went down, then Dikembe went down, and like never again. We're always gonna have someone there in case that happens, like the third center, right? Rafael was there for that. Rafael was there for that postseason.
The way I look at the deal is this: so it's $321, right? 3 years, $21 million, which is an average of $7 million a year, however it's structured.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you have Jock Landale with his fully unguaranteed $8 million a year. So my suspicion is that they'll probably just like guarantee up his money and sign and trade him, and like throw in some, in like a second round pick or whatever to make it worth their trouble. And effectively, he's just a slightly cheaper than Jock Landale 1-to-1 swap.
Yeah. It's very possible. I mean, again, the Clint Capela one is like where we're saying we really don't know, like how they're doing this. Like if they just stopped at Dorian Finney-Smith, we know how they did all this, right? If they stopped at DFS with Clint Capela, it's like we don't know how they're doing it, right?
Let me. I'm gonna make my point now, which is that. So they signed Steve Adams for like $13 million a year, which is a really good deal for his production.
Yeah.
They signed that really friendly deal, team-friendly deal with Jabari Smith Jr. Last year, they signed that deal with Alperen Sengun for $35 a year, which is going to look like an absolute highway robbery on their part in a couple of years. No problem.
Yeah.
They allegedly got all the, Jeff Green and Aaron Holiday and Jayshawn Tate to all sign minimums. If they indeed did sign minimums, it seems like at least two of them did. Aaron Holiday, we'll find out.
Yeah.
Guys want to be in Houston, is my read on this. Like, there's a huge amount of player buy-in on this team currently. Kevin Durant forced his way to the team.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, people want to be on this Rockets team, which I think is partially a result of Ime Udoka being a well-liked coach. Like, players like Ime Udoka. They want to play for him. I think it's partially they're having, like, an organizational structure that's been stable recently. I think also them being really good this last season has been a huge draw for players as well. Like, this is a team obviously on the rise. It's a city people want to live in as much as, it's not New York or LA, but like, no one is.
I mean, but we know this about, listen, the secret's out on Houston, right? It's been out since Dwight signed, right? Like players like Houston, especially when they're good, right?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
It's like Phoenix. Phoenix is similar in that way. When Phoenix is good, players want to be there, right?
Yeah.
And Houston is one of those markets where, like, if the situation's attractive enough, it's just as attractive as LA, right? So in a vacuum, right? But so like if LA is really good, I don't know, but yeah.
I think the story this offseason is that players want to play on the Rockets. I think the Rockets organization has put in the work. They've done their chores in order to make this the case, to make it an appealing destination. And now the dividends are being paid. They are an appealing team. They are a desirable team that is trying to win now and looks very capable of doing so. Players want to win a championship. They want to be on a team playing for a coach they like, and they have been willing to take a discount to do so, which Rafael Stone has been leveraging that incredibly. He's been getting discount after, and another thing is that much like the Spurs in the 2000s, the more discounts players take on a team, the more discounts players take on a team. Like, it creates a culture of players being willing to say, let's make it so that we can get good players in here. When everyone's taking like 5 or 10 million or whatever underneath their market value, then that's just the norm there. So,
and we should also point out that they may not be done, because you still have Kevin Durant out for an extension. You still got Tari Eason out for an extension, and these deals are impacting their decisions.
Well, and,
right?
and we also shouldn't forget that Fred VanVleet signed an extension where he went down to $25 million a year for 2 years.
Yeah, but I also want to say, like, that was also a team option, right? Like they could have just said, "Hey, we're not picking you up, but if you're willing to work with us, we may give you something better or something different." You know, like we want to give you like 25 a year for 2 years. So like that's a little bit different there, but I take your point.
Yeah, it's still a team friendly deal in the end.
Yeah, of course. So, yeah, it is a team friendly. He did Houston a favor, right? And I think like the point you made about Ime is great. I was just about to lock in on that. Like that is probably the thing I most underestimated when they first went after Ime, right? How attractive he is to other players. Guys want to play for him. They like the tough love. They like his style of coaching. It is very Popovich like, right? Like in that players just around the league are talking about him, right? And
but yeah, he has that credibility that comes from being a relatively recent player as well. Like
yeah,
guys know that he knows life in the league from their perspective because they saw him do it. Some of them played with him, so
and he's had success. Right? Like, listen, he made the finals his first year as a coach. He took this team to 41 wins from 22 wins. Then he took it to 52 last year. Like he's just good. Like he's He may have his faults, right? Every coach in the NBA, by the way, has their faults. You're not going to fire them and think you're going to upgrade Knicks, right? Like this is what I mean. Like when you have a very good coach like this, it's best to keep them. And the Rockets did a good job on keeping him and giving him a raise. Good on Tillman, right? Like they're doing a pretty good job of keeping everyone happy, right? Like this summer is very much happy locker, happy life, right? And that seems to be what the Rockets are going by. I also want to say this. I want to see what the hell Kevin Durant signs for. Like I really want to see what he signs for. How much is he going to work with season? I think I'm resigned to the fact that it's not going to be a full max anymore. It's not going to be a full 2-year max. I don't think I'm skeptical that that's going to be the case now.
Yeah, I mean, all the noise sounds like he wants to be in Houston and is liable to take a discount to make that time in Houston more successful. That my read on this is that he really wants to win a championship, right? That he thinks this is the best place he can do it for himself, and he's going to do what it takes. And and they're bringing players who are on that same page.
Now we can get macro. Let's talk about how good this team is. Okay, so the depth is ridiculous, right? Like the depth is ridiculous. Top end, I mean, you got Kevin Durant, right? Alperen Şengün, both all-star level players. Van Vliet, very capable starting point guard. And you got Amen Thompson, burgeoning star, right? And so what does this mix mean, right? Like how good is it? And I think I'm very curious to what level Kevin Durant can be on. Can he get back to when he's on a good team, right? Can he get to like first team All NBA, second team All? Like, can he get back to that level of player again? Because if he's like flirting with MVP race stuff again, like that's a title contender, man. Like, and this was already a title contender, but that's like a legit title contender. You know,
this is a team that if everyone on this team is exactly what they were last season, this is a title contender.
Mm-hmm.
But some of these guys are not going to be what they were last season.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Kevin Durant and Dorian Finney-Smith are on the back half of their careers. They might be, and also to some degree Fred VanVleet, they might fall off a little bit. Everyone else on the team who's on Steven Adams, but like everyone else on the team who's a main rotation piece, they're all in their second, third, fourth years, right? They're going into like years 3, 4, and 5, for Reed Shepherd. These are guys who should get better, is the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, these are all players who are right in the prime of improvement. That this is when you improve as a player, and they are around a bunch of players who can help them improve and have helped them improve and have shown improvement. So yeah, I think they're a contender if no one makes a leap this season.
Yeah,
if someone makes a leap, I don't know what the hell happens.
And like, listen, like, what are the ingredients for a title contender, right? You need elite stars, right? Kevin Durant is an elite star, right? You need distribution, like high-level distribution. Fred VanVleet and Alperen Şengün bring you high-level distribution, right? They're good passers. Defense, right? You need steady. Yeah. Like, you don't even need like elite defense, but the Rockets have elite defense, right?
Yeah, that's not even in question. The defense is beyond reproach.
I think you have the ingredients for like a team that has 60+ win potential. Now, I think if you ask me right now, I'm probably going to say 56, 57, 58 wins is probably where I would pick, right? Just because like that's just where my head's at with this team. But I think they could easily blow that out of the water if everyone's healthy, right? That's probably the biggest if, right? But that's the biggest if for every team in the NBA. Every team has a potential what if nowadays. I don't even like saying that anymore.
Well, here's my case about them. Or rather, let's walk through my thinking about them, which is that they've kind of skipped the season where you win 60 games, if that makes sense. Like, they've leapfrogged about a year in their growth and development. They've gone from, like, we're excited to be here, we're going to win every single regular season game we can, to being in the year where they have veterans and they need to prepare for the playoffs and get things done when it really matters. So I think, in a certain sense, a team might take... There may be a little bit step back in regular season performance because they have older players. They need to rest up and prepare for the postseason. They may not take the regular season quite as much as a chance to prove themselves as previously. So in that sense, I don't disagree. It may be that they're a team that should be winning like 62 games, but they're willing to lose like 5 or 6 of those to make sure that they come into the playoffs ready to go.
Yeah, and I'll also say this, like, a big takeaway from this offseason is, man, they believe in Reed Sheppard. Because, like, after Fred VanVleet and after Fred VanVleet, Amen Thompson, and, like, Kevin Durant, ball handling wise, if you don't believe in Reed Sheppard, man, it's barren. But if you do believe in him, I mean, you're fine. You're fine, right? So, he has to be good. Like, he has to be good enough to be 15 to 20 minutes a game now.
They think he's going to be a real backup point guard this season and not like a guy that they're introducing to the NBA like he was last year.
Which is crazy for a guy his age. Like, a real backup point guard for a title contender. There's a difference, right? You can be a good backup point guard, or you can be a real backup point guard, but there's a difference between being a backup point guard and being a backup point guard for a title contender, right? That's what they're asking him to be. Now, do I think he could be that? Yeah, I very well think he can. We'll just have to see what he does in extended minutes. That's the thing. He never had a consistent role after the first 20 games. They kind of like, all right, like, we kind of have to like ease back on this, right? They decided to go with a more stable hand in Aaron Holiday, and maybe they still lean on Aaron Holiday a little bit more, right? But I think in general they're probably leaning more. Hey, Kevin Durant, Fred VanVleet, Alperen Sengun, you guys are collapsing defenses for us. And ball handling wise, for the rest of the time, we're looking at Reed Sheppard and we're looking at Aaron Holiday as like, hey, you're the cleanup crew, right? And I think people are looking at their roster with like, they're lacking some ball handling. And I'm just like, when was the last time you watched Kevin Durant? Right? I think there's a lot of Rockets fans that are in for a hell of a surprise. Kevin Durant is not just good at basketball. I have people down the street that are good at basketball. Kevin Durant.
He's one of the all-timers.
Yeah, but like, he is a freak. Like, he's 6'11" and he handles like a guard. You've heard that phrase before, but it's 100% legitimate. His handle is insane for someone that big. And they don't need guards when you have him. They don't need shooting. They don't need wings. Yeah. Like, did you hear that quote from John Hollinger today? Like, the Rockets need wings. Like, what was that? Where the hell did that come from? Like, did you not see the roster?
They got wings. Yeah,
like, like, that's all this roster has is wings.
It's a damn Wingstop. Yeah,
yeah. This is a Wingstop, right? This is the Wingstop Rockets. Without Jalen Green, ironically. But it is that's what this team is, and it is. I just think I think there's gonna. I think even nationally wise, there's a lot of people that just haven't seen how good this guy is in a while, right? It's been a while since the Warriors. He hasn't been relevant since the Warriors, right? Like a stint in Brooklyn, but really, he hasn't had that national spotlight since the Warriors. He's gonna have that on him again, and it's a different role. He's gonna have to be a leader again, like he was in Oklahoma City. I think he's more than capable of that, but I think people, they're in for a surprise. I think people are going to see how good Kevin Durant is at basketball.
In many ways, he has found a situation as similar to the one he had in the Golden State Warriors, specifically in that it's a team that is a full team without him, and he's slotting into the team as like the force multiplier. He's not there to be like he's not. The team's not built around him. He's slotting into the team that was already built mostly. It's not as good as that Warriors team, obviously, because no one has been. I think he's more of a finishing piece versus a force multiplier, right? Like, I would say... Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, like, I would say this is like similar to his Oklahoma City team, right? Where that team very much needed him, and that team was very good around him, right? Very well constructed around him. But he was also an essential piece, right? And he's going to be an essential piece here. Kevin Durant goes down right now, they're not winning a title, right? Like
no.
With that Warriors team, they might have, right? That's the difference, right? He's going to be needed for and I think people talk about this being good for his legacy if he wins a title here, right? I just don't. I think titles are titles. You can't take those Warriors titles away from him. I don't put asterisks by them. So I think I'm a bit skeptical of that conversation, but I think there is a part of him that does buy into it, and that he needed to come to a situation like this.
I mean, it'll be good for his legacy because winning a title is always good for your legacy. So.
That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. But I believe that he thinks that winning a title on a team like this is good for his legacy. Because, I mean, the guy is very hypercritical of what people say about online. It's one of the most annoying things about Kevin Durant. I love Kevin Durant, the basketball player. Kevin Durant, the person's a little too curmudgeon-y for my taste, right?
He's an absolute poster. It's true.
Yeah. But I can't wait to see just people's reaction to this team. I mean, I think people know this is not a secret. The Rockets are not a secret. Like
everyone's out here saying that this is like a contending team. That they've had an incredible people are paying attention. They got themselves on the national radar this last season, and people are like, okay, that's cool. We're glad. It's fun that you're arriving, but let us know when you're for real. And now they're like, oh, you've let us know that you're for real. Okay, cool.
Yeah. And I am curious as to will they still be a viable threat for Giannis? Will they want to be a viable threat for Giannis when and if he becomes available? Because I think he will become available. I'm sorry, Miles Turner's not locking him down, right? He's not locking down Giannis in Milwaukee. But I think I want to see if they can still be in that chase. I don't know if they're at the same level they were, especially if they're losing pieces like Cam Whitmore left and right? I think they're kind of They gave up more than you thought than you might have thought this offseason.
They kind of did their big thing already. So I think they could, in theory, trade for Giannis, but it would just totally eviscerate the team to do so.
Yeah, they kept their powder dry, but not Giannis dry. They kept it more like Devin Booker dry, right?
They're ready for next season or the trade deadline or something. They're they've kept their long-term prospects very very fluid, but they're not it seems like they did the thing they were trying to do this season.
Sure, but
they took their action.
But I also think they can trade for a star. I just don't think it's Giannis star. That's a different level of star. I think they can trade for a tier 2 down. I think that you can trade for example, Kyrie, or Devin Booker, right? I think if that's the kind of player they feel like they need, right? I think that's going to be available for them. But overall, I think this is a pretty complete team. I mean, it feels scary to say that. What I look at them, I'm like, what are they lacking? I mean, theoretically, from what I think they possess, I don't think they're lacking anything, and that's a scary thought. That means they should, in my estimation at least, be the favorite or be one of the favorites in the Western Conference. And I think you and I are on the same boat. I think they're looking up at one team. I think there are two teams that they look down at and that scare them, right? I think it's Denver and I think it's LA. But I don't know if any other team is scaring them.
I think the corner has been rounded. This is no longer a house money team. This is now a has expectations team. They did it. And so now now they went from being, well, if you lose in the first round, you got some good experience and you're new here, to now they should expect to make the conference finals.
Yeah. 100%.
Or else it's been a bad season. They need to make the conference finals this year.
That's where they're at. You took the words right out of my mouth. It's Western Conference finals or bust, right? That's kind of where they're at next year. And people may get mad at us, but I mean, listen, that's what we think the roster is. That's where that's the
roster they've put together. You don't put together this roster unless you intend to make the conference finals. That's how expectations are. The better you make your team, the better you need to do. So there is, I think Rockets fans need to get ready for a little bit of the bloom going off the roads this season. Weirdly, the honeymoon is over. This is no longer the honeymoon.
No house.
This is a real team. Yeah, this is a real team with real expectations, and they need to start winning.
Yeah.
And if they're not winning, people are going to be mad about it, and they're not going to be wrong to be mad about it. So expectations are here to make things a little bit less fun for you. Enjoy the regular season while it's here, because the playoffs are going to be stressful.
But at the same time, if you're a longtime Rockets fan, you've had 5 years of no expectations. It's kind of fun to have them again, isn't it? Right?
Oh, yeah. We're back.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't wait. I can't wait. Like I look at them and I'm like, this is what a healthy rebuild should be, right? We're at year 5, right? This is year 5. You did your asset collection in the first couple of years. You did your asset maturation the 2 years following that. Now you did your swing, right? They rebuilt. They used all their levers. They used all the draft, free agency, and trade. Like literally, they used all 3 levers to build this team, right? A very what the NBA wants teams to use, right? This is what the Rockets did. We'll just
If this team wins 60 games, Stone's executive of the year. I
think he had a case for that last year. I mean, he's been really good. He's one of the best front offices in the NBA still, which is again after you lose a guy as good as Morey at this job, you're just okay, if they can lateral or if they can slightly get worse, that's fine. But they stay at the same level, which is crazy.
I think he's grown over the years he's been the GM as well, which is a huge compliment to him. He's learned on the job, and he's gone from being someone I thought was a good GM to someone I now think of as an exceptional GM.
You know what I think his best quality is? Accepting when he's made a mistake, right? He's quick to move on, right? His first round picks that he failed at, they're gone. Second round picks out the door, right?
Yeah.
Jalen Green, all right, you're gonna sign this prove it contract, kind of, right? And if we don't like this in a year, you're gone too, right? That's his highest draft selection, right?
Yeah, that was the number 1. That was the first draft pick he made.
Yeah, it takes balls to move that guy, right? And credit to Stone, he has the stones, right, to do that. It is great general managering, and I think listen, I think Rockets fans should be on cloud nine. I really do. Listen, I don't have much else to say. I did have some conflicting thoughts on what they're doing with Cam Whitmore, but again, how can you be mad at anything that's going on right now? How can you be mad?
I have one last thought, which is that who's playing in Summer League? Who's playing in Summer League?
Can it be Reed? I want to see Reed.
It can be Reed.
Yes.
So they've established an expectation in the Rockets that second-year players play in Summer League. So
yeah.
I think it's going to be Reed. But who else? They're going to have to sign some dudes. They're just going to pick up some
who cares?
Who cares, guys?
I mean, I don't care. I don't care who they use their 2-way contracts on. I don't care who plays in Summer League. They're past that. They're past that point. They're past being the most exciting team in Summer League. They're at that point a couple years ago. Now they're not there anymore.
I just want to see Reed. I want to see if Reed Shepherd puts up 50 a game. That's the only thing I care about for Summer League. I want to see Reed Shepherd play and see if he launches it one.
I want him to see. I want to see him put up one 50-point game and then get
go home.
They're trying to win a title, man.
True.
No more. You're done by the 49th point, right? You're done, right? Pack it up.
As a note to Rockets fans, also, they do have 21 roster slots in the summer. They're going to sign some dudes, and you don't need to worry about it. They're going to sign some guys that you're going to say, who is this guy? Why are they signing him as a team?
You can Google them. You can Google their basketball reference. You're not going to know who they are. And
they're not going to be on a team.
They're not going to be of importance. Then one of them might get a 2-way, right? One of them might get a 2-way.
Yeah, just don't worry about it.
Yeah.
That's all. Just watch Summer League. And then whatever happens there, it doesn't matter. And then just find a hobby and get ready for the fall, because that's when stuff really matters.
It's season time, baby, and postseason time. I can't wait. I'm excited. We're getting Consequential back in Houston, and I'm very excited. All right, Forrest, thank you so much for listening to the podcast. Thank you so much for joining me, Forrest. If you guys enjoyed the show, please give us 5 stars on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, and Stitcher. And also, give us a thumbs up on the episodes. That really does help the algorithm. So yeah, if you're watching us on YouTube, thumbs up the episode. And we'll talk to you guys online.